Hi, my name's Amy Marsh, and today I'll be informing you about GMOs. So first, according to the Food Dialogue, there are being needed fewer pesticides needed to grow on less land than ever before because we're not needing to use pesticides because we have GMOs now. Pesticides are actually more harmful than GMOs. This was a chemical put on crops to make them grow larger, but not more of them. GMO is just a chemical to make there be multiple of one instead of causing it to get bigger. GMO is just an expander. Pesticides has been around for years and years and years, but people didn't look at it as like a harmful chemical as they do GMOs. So GMOs are herbicide-tolerant crops, allowing farmers to use less or non-till farming methods. These methods of farming reduce soil erosion, river pollution, and require less irrigation. As to pesticides, when we used more of those, it was causing irrigation to the plants, and it didn't have insect tolerant on it or anything, so insects would poop and puke and bite into all of those plants, and we would still sell that crop. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, GMOs are used to plant more than 90% of our corn, our cotton, and our soybean growth. There's pros and cons to every situation. So with anything, there can be negatives and there can be positives just as well as GMOs. Some of the pros are resistance to insects. So there is a chemical in GMOs that allow insects not to want to come around that crop, to be able to bite into there and to be able to get the chemical inside of the crop. It's also tolerant to herbicides, and it's also tolerant to seasonal changes. So if we're needing to plant during winter, the frost and the rain and the sleet and all of that isn't going to cause harm to the crop, as well if it's hot outside or it's misting or any of that. It's tolerant to any seasonal change. Now, with the cons, there is a rumor going around that it can be causing cancer, but no one really knows the cause of cancer yet, and no one really knows how to react to it, so they try to stay away from all non-GMO foods, which there isn't many. Cancer can be got from your food, your water, your tap water, any of that. It also does have allergies, just like with anything. There's foods that people can't eat, medicines that people can't have because of allergies, just as well as the GMOs. There's chemicals in there that people could be allergic to, and it's antibiotic resistant. In the United States, there is a law that nothing GMO food has to be labeled. So when you go to the store, if you buy a pack of hamburger meat or you buy a can of corn, it doesn't have to be labeled if a GMO is used on that. As in to Europe or any other countries, they don't use as many GMOs, so the food that does have GMOs in it are labeled. So GMO is just an expander. So our population in our United States is growing. There's more people being born. There's larger families than what there used to be. So farmers are using GMOs on basically every crop and every animal because the more people, the more food we need. So if we weren't to use these, we wouldn't necessarily maybe have enough food for the entire United States. There's actually 6 mLs inserted into every cow or farmer that chooses to use GMOs on their animals, and this isn't causing harm to the animal. It's not putting allergies or cancer or any type of disturbance to the animal inside of them. It is just causing them to get fatter and wider to cause more meat, so when that cow is butchered, they can get more meat off of it to sell to our families. According to Live Science, apples and potatoes were one of the last things that GMOs were inserted into, and this is because they thought that it would cause bruising and brownness to the apple and potato earlier, but actually they have recently been approved by the Food and Drug Administration to be injected with GMOs because it's making them last longer and causing them not to turn brown or bruised. Also, according to the NLM, which is the National Library of Medicine, Genetically engineered foods have foreign genes inserted into them, into their genetic codes. The benefits are food that are tastier, that last longer, and they're more nutritious, and they are less likely to have droughts or diseases. My opinion on this is I approve GMOs. Going through high school, I was big ag, I was into FFA and all of that, and whenever I started doing research and papers and stuff, I would do them over GMOs because I do approve with this, and I do hear so many people talk down about GMOs, but really 99% of the food that they're buying and eating has GMOs on them, and we haven't came to a conclusion or found anything that's harming anyone with the GMOs yet. Thank you.